Hey guys, doing a long-term test on the electric motion battery today. This is the electric motion Escape, and I'm riding with a friend of mine, and he's on a KTM 300XC, and we're having a blast out here in Croom in Florida. We're right up next to I-75. That's the background noise, but I wanted to see how far this thing would go. So Croom's been a good test today for this thing, and last report I was at 35%. I might be having a little bit of a technical issue. It's brand new, this bike, as you guys may know, a couple months old, but my screen is not telling me the battery percentage when I hit the button, and I can't get it to give me a reading. So last reading was 35% about 10 minutes ago. So I actually have never brought it down this low yet, so it's kind of interesting. I wanted to see how far I could go with this thing and flex the muscles of the battery today. So I'll splice in some more information later after I get done with this ride, but we've been out here for over 2 hours riding some amazing trails. Croom's got some killer ups and downs and ditches and whoops, and I have to say one thing about this thing. It handles sand like nothing I've ever ridden. Well, I'll get back with you guys later. Thanks. All right, guys, I'm just finishing my battery test video here. I mentioned yesterday I was at Croom in Florida. That's north of Tampa a little bit. If you guys look it up, it's a pretty famous riding area in Florida, but people like Pastrani and his people, Travis Pastrani and his people ride there and have ridden there for years. But it's got incredible like drop-offs and canyons and crevices and just, you know, good trials, hardcore enduro stuff, and some heavy sand and whoops. A lot of people don't like to ride it unless it's freshly rained and everything, but you saw I was with a friend on a KTM 300XC, which is like the ideal bike for, theoretically, for that. But I can't give enough praise to this bike again. Hour-wise, in terms of battery life, I guess the simplest thought process you could have in your mind for this thing, again, this is the Escape, not the Escape R. I have no clutch. I rode it roughly 4 hours and change. And I think we started a little around a little before 9 o'clock and rode till a little after 1 o'clock. My goal was to wear it down as far as I've ever worn it down. I brought it down to 10%. So even when I got back and it was still showing like 15%, I just played around on those little drop-offs and canyons for a while and got her down to 10. Think of it this way, battery life-wise, it's almost like for every minute of charge on a 15-amp charger, they say it takes 4 hours and a quarter, so 4 hours and 15 minutes. You get a minute worth of ride. Kind of think of it like that. So now, granted, I was riding in the lowest mode, green. I only switched it up once or twice for a few seconds, and I was riding fairly slow, and you know, it's pretty tight in there, so we weren't going crazy. I mean, I definitely I rode down the road a little bit, you know, full speed a few times, and I rode the whoops fairly quickly. And so it's all relative to how you use it. You know, it's a tool for a specific type of riding. Let's face it, there's no motorcycle that does everything well. 100%. You've got to have different motorcycles for different environments depending upon what you want to do. To me, this thing is mind-boggling for what you can do in terms of super tight technical single track, where you want to do crazy climbs, get down into crevices and ruts and things where your pegs are scraping and you can touch the wall. It's so, you know, sharp, the crevice or what have you. You know, I buried this in a 4-foot crevice yesterday that you had to, you know, kind of do a wheelie to get it up on the lip and then wheel it out type of thing. Three guys were down there pulling a 250 gas out of there manually by hand, and but it was a blast. I can't say enough. I mean, I've ridden, you know, YZ250 4-stroke. I got a YZ450 4-stroke right now. I have a WR250R. I know the KTMs are the stuff, and the betas and so forth. My friend had his KTM. I rode that a little bit yesterday. Awesome bikes. To be honest with you, I think, you know, I love them all. I love motors. You guys know that. I got a bunch of motorcycles with 2-stroke engines, even some oddballs. But once you go electric, I think you're going to see the benefits. And this thing will dominate in terms of getting through tight technical stuff. The fact that it only weighs 183 pounds. The fact that I'm making so little noise. We saw 5 deer. I was leading the ride. We saw 5 deer. I saw 2 black racer snakes. and it was just a blast. I actually am kind of sick of the noise of, there's a couple of 4-stroke high performance four-wheelers out there that you could hear for 2 miles away, which were to me kind of obnoxious. But you know, and a guy came up on a brand new Beta 2-stroke that he literally just picked up, and he was raving about it. And then he said, hey, follow us for a little bit, we'll ride together. So we followed them for a minute, but tons of wheel spin, so created tons of dust, and Croom was kind of dry, so it was a mess. Those guys were just, you know, roosting everywhere, which, yeah, it's fun. Yeah, I get it. I have a 450. I ride tracks. I spin it too. But, you know, it's not about spinning your tire. It's about traction and getting places. And then also, I do not want to follow any more 2-strokes, man. I'm sick of that. I followed my previous friend, another friend with a KTM 300, the last time I rode Croom, the first time I rode Croom, and he must have mixed it super rich. All I did was smell 2-stroke oil all day. I literally had like a sore throat. I mean, he was like mosquito patrol. He was fogging up the whole woods. So not a fan of that. Not a fan of exhaust fumes. Yeah, it's all great when you're the rider and you're in front, but if you go with any friends, it's a pain in the ass to have a 2-stroke leading the pack. And that's just my opinion. I know everybody's different, but you know, I don't know anybody that likes exhaust fumes. But it's loud. The 2-stroke, the Beta, a beautiful bike, but smelly, loud, kind of a pain. My friend's KTM's beautiful. It was running cleaner because he's got a newer KTM that's injected, I guess. And so I rode that. It's definitely got awesome crawl capability with the clutch, but I feel like I'm further up, I'm up higher. I'm actually almost flat-footed on his KTM XC there. So actually the height wasn't as bad, but the bar height was a lot higher. And it's just nowhere near as nimble as this thing. This thing, I felt like I was skiing the glades. I was just chopping back and forth in the sand and just having an absolute blast. The thing, I was surfing those sand banks and just coming off them, you know, leaning back on the seat and just riding them. In the whoops, I was able to blast through the super dry, sandy, powder sand stuff. Unbelievable sand control. Like I said, I've never ridden anything with this kind of sand control. I had no instability in the sand, which is odd, you know. I know lighter bikes are better in the sand, in my opinion, and, you know, 183 pounds, this thing kicked butt. So I'm giving it tons of raves for no particular reason other than, you know, I've tried other things, and this thing blows my mind in terms of its, you know, weight, 183 pounds, so throwing it around in a tight situation, you get stuck, much better. Crawl and traction, I'm running like 7-8 pounds of pressure in these tires, and like I said, again, they just go over anything. So much less body fatigue, and the battery is basically minute for minute. For every minute of charge I gave it, I got a minute of ride. So 4 hours of ride. Yeah, you know what, my body, I was excited, so I was having so much fun. I think my body was lying to myself. My body was wore out, but I was ready for more. Could I have used a little bit more riding? Yeah, actually, I would have liked a little bit more battery, no doubt about it. But you know what? I'm 100% happy. I'm blown away with its range, and I'm still conditioning the battery, so I actually expect it to get better. Now, as I ride a little faster and maybe go into higher modes, maybe I'll burn it quicker. I'm okay with that. You know, 2.5, 3 hours of riding is enough for me before I start making dangerous mistakes or getting sloppy. My buddy on the KTM was wore out. He's a little bit older than I. We're pretty equal skills, I guess. But, you know, I would say if you took identical age guys with identical skills, you would burn less energy on this bike doing tight technical stuff. You're not dealing with the weight. He fell over a few times in the heavy sand, which I would have too in a bigger bike. You know, and way more power than we needed in those tight woods on the KTM. So it was, again, it's just where you want to ride and what your interests are. So if you get a chance to get one of these things or try one of these things for a period of time, I mean, just trying it for a few minutes doesn't do it much justice. You got to kind of get into a rhythm with it. But absolutely adore this thing still. Totally happy with the range. I can't wait to try it on those upstate New York technical trails that I'm talking about. They're going to be more rocky and more steep, sketchy climbs and descents, greasier mud. Maybe I'll try the traction control, etc. The only thing I had yesterday, which the dealer that I'm working with, Hall Cycle there in Springfield, Illinois, This display was not cooperating. It wasn't, when I hit the button, it wasn't telling me the battery range. I mean, it did tell me throughout the day, so I wasn't worried about it, but it seemed to have some sort of glitch. They're going to swap it out, no issues. I guess they've had some trouble with some adhesive on the screen too that bled through in the manufacturing, so you can see like little bubbles in there. That's the only issue, and it's not a big issue. It's still everything. I can still get my reading for percentage of battery, and I charged her up last night, and I basically have it down to a science. Based on that 4 hours and 15 minutes, I break down what my usage is, and I do a ratio, and it almost to the T, I can tell you when it's going to stop. And again, I put a timer on your stove or your Amazon or Alexa or whatever, and I go down and unplug it immediately. So I basically have a really good grip on how long it takes, the range. I love it. So I hope this helps you guys if you're looking to make a decision. You will not be disappointed in this technology. Awesome. Power was a blast. I can't give it enough, you know, fun credits, call it. Anyway, I hope that helps you guys. Enjoy, and I appreciate any subscriptions. Take care, and I'll give you some new videos in the future, some better ones of me actually riding through some hardcore stuff, hopefully, once I figure out how to set up a camera. Take care, guys, and again, I hope you enjoy. Bye.